My name is Andrew Laird, and I'm here today to teach you how to give a speech. Let me rephrase that. I'm here to share with you the very best advice I've been given about public speaking. And I've been given a lot of advice. I was privileged to work for 4 years at a law firm that prized public speaking. This law firm made a lot of its money by representing clients in the courtroom. Big clients like Uber, Apple, Bank of America, and Campbell's Soup. And because these clients really wanted to win, this firm took public speaking very seriously. And so all of the lawyers were whipped into shape. We were required to attend public speaking boot camps. These were grueling, multi-day ordeals where we were filmed and critiqued, and filmed and critiqued, and filmed and critiqued again by highly paid outside consultants. I learned a lot from this experience, and I want to share the best of it with you in the few minutes that we have together today. So I invite you right now to pull out your grade binder so that you can take notes. I'll give you a roadmap for our class today. I'm going to share with you 2 very simple substantive rules for public speaking, and then 5 quick and easy tips for the delivery of a speech. But first, let me make the case that public speaking skills are vitally important for each one of you, regardless of the type of career you pursue. Here's why. Public speaking pops up everywhere. First, public speaking will pop up in college. More and more colleges are incorporating public speaking into the curriculum. You may be required to present your findings at the end of a lab class, or deliver a presentation on your term paper at the end of the semester. Often, a large percentage of your grade is based on how well you do on these presentations. Second, public speaking will pop up in the summer. Many summer internships require interns to research a topic and present it on the last day of the internship. You definitely don't want to mess that up, especially if you're hoping to land a job there after you graduate. And third, public speaking will pop up in your career. And I'm not just talking about lawyers and senators. No, every job involves communication in some form, and often that communication takes place in front of groups of people. Sometimes these are small groups. Sometimes these are large groups. For example, business people give monthly reports. Salespeople give pitches. Medical doctors give presentations on clinical results. Even professional athletes end up doing a lot of public speaking. Think about all of those post-game interviews you watch on television. Boy, do I have some public speaking pointers for LeBron James. You might even have to give a toast at your friend's wedding. So trust me, you will come face to face with public speaking, and today's class will be time well spent. So let's begin. The first substantive rule is this: have something to say. I'll repeat it again. Every time you give a speech, make sure you have something to say. It sounds obvious, doesn't it? This is the single most important element of a good speech, and yet it is so often neglected. Here's my recommendation. Next time you have to give a speech, start thinking in reverse. Ask yourself, when I'm done talking to this audience, what do I want them to come away with? What message do I want them to take home? And then build everything you say around that. Reverse engineer the speech. Pick your examples or anecdotes based on that. Craft your opening based on that. Hone your closing based on that. Organize your whole speech so that your message is heard loud and clear. Here's an example. In law school, I got to meet a very famous Supreme Court litigator. This man had spent most of his career arguing complex cases in front of the Supreme Court. And you know what he does? Before every case, he tries to simplify his legal argument so that he can explain it to his 8-year-old daughter and get her to agree with him. If she's not convinced, he tries again and again until she takes his side. This forces him to focus on the core issue in the case and to distill his legal argument until he has one simple message. A message that's intelligible to Supreme Court justices and 8-year-olds alike. The key piece is this. He walks into the courtroom with something to say, and it's a message that's been carefully chosen. Dale Carnegie famously said, "Tell your audience what you're going to say it, and then tell them what you said." That's good advice. And the best part is that it keeps you focused on your message, that thing you want your audience to still remember tomorrow morning while they're brushing their teeth. The second and last substantive rule is this: be prepared. I repeat, be prepared. Here's an example from my law practice. In a case defending AT&T, I spent 10 hours preparing for a 10-minute opening statement. That's 1 hour of prep for every minute of public speaking. Now, I'll say this, time is a luxury, and you won't always have as much time as you need or want, but AT&T really wanted to win this case, and so they let me put in that kind of time. It was a good experience for me because it helped me realize just how helpful that additional time can be. Sure, you can always wing it, but if you put in the time, you get a much better result. We can learn from the big law firms. Lawyers at these firms routinely put in hours and hours of time to prepare for an opening statement, a cross-examination, or an oral argument. They invest this kind of time because it works. It makes it much more likely that their client will win. There's something else that good preparation does for you. It gives you a psychological advantage. And psychology is huge when it comes to public speaking. In a word, preparation gives you confidence. If you know your speech inside and out, if you've prepared and pondered and practiced, then you're going to walk into that room ready to just kill. You're going to be so proud of your message, remember that's rule number 1, and the way you've packaged it up for people, that you are just itching to get the speech started and to deliver that message. The founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, was well known for putting lots of time into preparing his speeches for product launches. I want to read you some real quotes from Apple employees about this preparation. Here's one quote. Steve Jobs spends hours rehearsing every facet of his presentation. Every slide is written carefully. Every presentation staged like a theatrical experience. Here's another quote. He would rehearse on stage for many hours over many weeks prior to the launch of a major product. He knew every detail of every demo and every font of every slide. As a result, the presentation was delivered flawlessly. People often tell me, "I'm not as smooth as Jobs was." Well, neither was he. Hours and hours of practice made Jobs look polished, casual, and effortless. So what are you going to do with all of this prep time? Well, that's something we could explore in an entire class, but I'll give you 3 ideas right now to at least get you started. First, use your prep time to think about your audience. Whom are you talking to? What's going to appeal to them? Where are they coming from? If your speech is designed to persuade them, then think about what preconceived ideas they may bring into the room with them. This is what Supreme Court litigators do. They know that, for example, Justice Roberts is going to be the swing vote in their case, and so they pitch their whole speech to him. They anticipate his concerns and his questions. It's very effective. Second, use your prep time to put your presentation in logical order. I recommend that you plan out your speech on note cards and then reorder them in the way that is most logical and that most serves the message you want to deliver. Mark Twain famously said, "It usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech." This means that what appears to flow naturally and logically from the speaker is often the result of careful planning and calculation. Third, use your prep time to come up with good stories and examples. Everyone knows this, but not everyone leaves enough time to really do this well. Think about your core message and then find a story or example to support it. And resist the temptation to include your favorite quote or story if it doesn't really advance your message. I know, it's tough. Everyone wants to quote Martin Heidegger just to sound smart. But if Heidegger never said anything about your subject matter, you're just going to have to leave him out. So those are the 2 substantive rules. Have something to say and be prepared. Just doing those 2 things will take you from the public speaking little league to the public speaking major league without much effort at all. You're going to be a pro. Now let's talk about delivering the speech. I have 3 quick and easy tips for delivery. Doing these things will quickly take your speech from a B- to an A+. So listen up. Quick and easy tip number 1. Slow down. I had a speech coach tell me this a long time ago, and it stuck with me. If you ever feel like you're speaking too slowly, slow down even more. Obviously, it's possible to speak too slowly, but very few people are guilty of that. Because public speaking makes us nervous, our inclination is to speed up and speak too quickly because of nervous energy. So try this before you start your speech. Look at your audience, scan the whole room, and take a deep breath. No one is rushing you. You decide when to start. Then start speaking at a pace that feels just a tad too slow. It's probably just right. I recommend that you use part of your prep time to record your speech and play it back. This will tell you a lot of things, one of which is whether you're speaking too fast. A good speaker will immediately try to establish a rapport with his audience. Quick and easy tip number 2. Use a conversational tone. A good speaker will immediately try to establish a rapport with his audience. This can be difficult to achieve and hinges on a variety of different factors. One of these factors is your tone. Whenever you give a speech, you should always strive for a conversational tone. If your tone is too rigid or too formal, your audience may get bored and tune you out. If your tone is too casual or informal, your audience may get offended or may distrust you. You want to strike a balance between these two extremes. Adopt a friendly conversational tone. Imagine that you've been invited over to your friend's house and you're speaking to your friend's mom in the living room. You're going to be polite. You're not going to curse or yell, but you're also not going to be overly rigid, as if you were speaking to a police officer or the dean of discipline at your school. No, you are relaxed and conversational. And if you do that, your audience will listen to you and trust you. Studies show that in jury trials, members of the jury make up their minds about which of the 2 lawyers they trust in an average of about 30 seconds. They quickly get a feel for the person, and they either feel like they can trust him or they don't. A lot of that comes from the tone each speaker adopts. Quick and easy tip number 3. Don't fear silence. As part of your preparation, build some effective silences into your speech. Silence is a very powerful weapon in a speech. Well-placed silences engage your audience and draw them in. It gets their attention and allows whatever you said right before the silence to hang in the room like a cloud. Resist the temptation to hit the silent pause quickly and then move on. No, bask in it. I recommend this. When pausing for effect, stay silent and wait until you can hear the low hum of the air conditioner or the faint buzzing of the fluorescent lights in the room. Then start speaking again, but slowly. This can be very effective. You also shouldn't be afraid of unplanned silences as you gather your thoughts or think about what to say next. Those silences may feel awkward to you, but they're not awkward to your audience. They're still thinking about what you just said because it's new to them, and unlike you, they haven't heard this speech before. So silence is your friend. Get comfortable with it. That's it. We've come to the end of our brief class today. We talked about 2 key substantive rules for every speech. That is, first, have something to say, and second, be prepared. Then we talked about 3 quick and easy tips for delivering your speech. Slow down, use a conversational tone, and don't fear silence. But before we part, I want to give you some homework. Yes, I said homework. There's no better way to improve your public speaking skills than to watch some of the greatest speakers and speeches in history. Here are 3 great speeches that you absolutely have to watch. These are all in the public domain. You can find them online for free. The first, Mr. Rogers spoke to a Senate hearing on May 1st, 1969.
And I'm proud to present Mr. Rogers to you now.
All right, Rogers, you got the floor.
The second is the St. Crispin's Day speech from Shakespeare's Henry V. I would find the one done by Kenneth Branagh.
We few, we happy few, we band of brothers.
And third, Steve Jobs' speech at the iPhone product launch in 2007.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years.
As you watch, I want you to ask yourself, what makes this a great speech? Study the message, study the delivery. I want you to look for all of these things we've talked about today. Does the speaker know his audience? Does he present his points in a logical order? Does he use good examples or stories? Next, analyze the delivery. How does the speaker use volume, silence, and hand gestures? What about movement? Watching a good speech is like watching a great artistic performance. I hope you enjoy watching these 3 speeches, and I hope they help you improve your own public speaking. Well, we've come to the end of our class today. Thank you for watching. My best to you and your family. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.